All right, here we go. Welcome, everybody, to the very first Wildfly podcast. I'm super excited to be starting this. This is something I've kind of been talking about doing, just tossing the idea around for a while, but finally committed to it and said, you know what do we have to lose? Let's get this thing going. And I think the podcast platform is a great way to really dive deep and have some of these longer form conversations with friends in the fishing world, in the film world, in the business world, creative world, outdoor world in general, that is kind of hard to fit into the videos that we do. This podcast is not just about me. This is not about self-promotion or anything like that. I really want this to be about you guys and being able to provide conversations that hopefully can add value to you all, whether that's in the fly fishing world, the filmmaking world, the photography world, and how the outdoors and creativity can really make a huge difference on all of our lives. So some of these we will have video available on our Wildfly Podcast YouTube channel. So if you're listening and you're interested in watching and viewing it that way, swing over to YouTube and check that out. So for the first episode, I figured there'd be no better guests to start this thing off than my good friends Adam and Steve from Blue Line Co. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Blue Line Co., they've been in a bunch of my videos in the past, including the Bus Diaries that we've been doing recently, and they run a fly tying company that is based out of northern Alabama. It was really interesting to kind of hear their story and how they were introduced to fly fishing and how they got into it, being in a part of the country that you wouldn't expect fly fishing to be prevalent or be even a thing. There's a lot of bass fishing, a lot of smallmouth fishing, and not very much trout fishing. So it was really interesting to hear kind of how smallmouth have played such a big role in their fly fishing career and how that has played a huge role in starting Blue Line Flies. So we definitely had some good laughs in this one. We also had some really good serious conversations, just breaking down some of the misconceptions of fly fishing and hopefully helping some of you who are new to the sport or haven't even gotten into fly fishing yet, kind of breaking down some of those barriers to make the barriers to entry just a little bit easier. One of my favorite parts from the conversation is really talking about appreciating your local water. Wherever it is that you come from, wherever it is that you fish and you grew up fishing, we talk about the importance of not taking that water for granted. Yeah, maybe it's not Montana, maybe it's not Belize, but there's something unique and special about that area that you are fishing. So I hope you guys enjoy this conversation. We actually filmed and recorded this in our hotel room in Montana, in Ennis, Montana. We were out shooting a film recently, and a blizzard came in, and it was there was no way we were going to go fishing that day. So we brought the podcasting stuff, and we made a little janky setup in the hotel room. So don't judge our setup. We just kind of moved some furniture around, hung some things up on the wall, try to get as much lighting in as possible, and just made it work. But before we get into it, I wanted to let you guys know we've got brand new apparel out. We've got new hats, shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, stickers. We've got the whole 9 yards. We've got a ton of stuff available, and just in time for the holiday season. We're encouraging people to shop early for their Christmas shopping, their holiday shopping this year. And hopefully there's something on the website that you guys like. But enough of me talking. I'm really excited for you guys to listen to this conversation, and let's jump right into it. All right, well, welcome to the very first Wildfly podcast. Woo! We've got my good friends and yours, Adam and Steve, here from Blue Line Co. This is there it is. This is the first ever Wildfly podcast, and we figured this would be a cool way to dive into some longer form conversations and just kind of see what comes of it. Talk about fishing, creativity, filmmaking, and just any of the BS that goes on all our trips and everything.
I'm not good at anything but the BS.
Yeah, that's about all that we do. We let Scotty deal with the other stuff.
Yeah, if you're looking for valuable fishing information, you should probably click out right now.
Yeah. Like if you want to learn how to catch fish or like more fish or like how to be good at fishing, you go ahead and keep going.
Yeah,
go talk to Tom Rosenbauer, not us.
But I guess to start this off, if you guys, obviously, I know you guys, and a lot of people know you guys, but you guys have a company, Blue Line Co., custom flies and streamer patterns and everything. If you guys want to just tell me kind of, how that came about and who you guys are.
Yeah, so we've been legit for like 4 years now with a website, the works. So we're going on our 4th season with that. Mm-hmm. Really fortunate. We learned a lot from it. A lot of stuff that we didn't really expect to come out of it has
been
come out
quite
of
the
it.
journey. We've definitely gone to places we did not think that we'd ever go when we first started saying,
Yeah,
hey, we're going
yeah.
to start bringing out our own flies.
Initially, it started. Steve and I both worked for a fly shop, and there were some pros, but there was a lot of cons to dealing with some of the other big box shop flies. Not to name them, but there's really no buyer loyalty. There's no branding. There's no real anything when it comes to their product.
No face to the company.
Yeah, there's no face to that company, and most of them kind of, to me at least, have the mentality of "fuck you, you'll buy it."
Pretty much.
And on top of that, we're in
just making sales every year.
Just making sales from you guys. We appreciate that.
Well, ignore that low stock. Ignore the low stock, guys. We've actually restocked everything. We've restocked everything. So if it says low stock, we're fixing that.
We're fixing that. Well, it's been fixed, I guess, by the time y'all are listening to this. Yeah. But
hopefully, fingers crossed, I get there.
So dealing with those guys wasn't great. I mean, their customer service wasn't fantastic. They were out of stock of a lot of stuff. When you needed it, they were out of stock. You pretty much had to pre-order everything you wanted for the entire season.
And you never really knew when you were getting it in either.
And they never gave you a great idea of when those products would show up. And you may pre-order 20 dozen flies and only 10 of them show up, and they didn't even tell you that's all you were getting. So when I was working with customers, trying to make fly orders, trying to get orders together, it was extremely difficult. And I always just thought when I was in that situation that I could do it better.
Well, and to that point as well is that, what we grew up doing is smallmouth fishing, which we've done quite a lot with Scotty on that. That's what we love to do. That's what our company's based off of. And there's never really been a good manufacturer out there of smallmouth patterns because, well, it is a niche type of thing. And these big box companies, they look at the dollar sign, they look at volumes, and they look at sales on that stuff. And they're not getting a lot of sales out of these things because not a lot of people were doing it at the time. So it was very hard for Adam and I to find good smallmouth patterns out there unless we were tying them ourselves, which is the basis of all our patterns. But at the time, working the shop, if we wanted to get patterns in that our customers could use to effectively fish for bass around there, we either buying downsized saltwater patterns or we were, grabbing trout patterns and, working with that. But the downside of the trout patterns is they have such a small hook shank in a lot of them is that, you miss a lot of these sets on these fish there. So it was kind of frustrating dealing with these patterns that weren't catered to exactly what we needed.
Well, and if they did have, just to interject, if they did have a bass section in their book, it was 6 pages of poppers that all looked the exact same, except they were just painted orange or yellow.
I don't consider poppers a bass fly, and I would fight you for that.
Well, let's back up really quick for like people who don't know. Obviously, like I said, I know you guys, but let's back up to where you guys are from. Like your location of where you started fly fishing, because I think that's really important for kind of like the foundation of Blue Line Co. and like the why you guys started making the patterns that you did and the type of fishing that you did. So let's back up to like where you guys started and how being in that location played a part in starting this.
So Steve and I are both from North Alabama. We grew up pretty close to each other. Bass fishing is just king. I mean, absolutely. We've got some of the best largemouth bass fishing in the whole country is located in North Alabama. It's extremely popular. A lot of people did it.
Some of the biggest bass tournaments are there.
Yeah. Some of the biggest bass tournaments that they, professional, competitive bass fishing tournaments are held, all around us. So that's kind of where we're from, where we grew up. There's no fly there, especially while we were growing up. There was no fly shop, and there still isn't, in my opinion.
Nope.
In the
Bailey
area
for a little bit.
Yeah. So, Sam Bailey's Outfitters was around for a hot minute in North Alabama, and
got my first real fly rod from him.
Shout out to Sam. Thanks, Sam.
Appreciate it, man.
But there was some, there was some stuff around, and there is a community there that fly fishes, but it's not very big. It's not very prolific. I remember if I ever got to go on vacation or we were ever like stopping through going to Atlanta or Nashville, I wanted to go to a fly shop, and like.
That was the king stop they go to.
Yeah. I remember, I bought my first stuff up in Tennessee at, what's the name of that shop? Little River Outfitters.
Oh, yeah.
Way back in the day. They were in an old, I think that was at least 2 buildings ago, I think, from where they're at now. And up in the Smokies was like the only place you could trout fish, really close to the house.
Wait, you don't want to go to the Teleco?
Unless you're at the Teleco or somewhere else. But there was some other places you could go, but not very. I mean, it was all traveling to go there. So we both grew up around, people. Really good. World-class bass fishermen. I don't know why. I didn't love it, but it just wasn't ever for me.
I enjoyed it. Junior high and high school, I tournament fished a lot, but this was one of those things that, you need a ton of equipment. You need a bass boat. You need someone with a live well. There's a lot more that goes into that. But and I say that with all the equipment we have now for fly fishing. But at the time, you kind of have to weigh your odds there. But at the same time, too, fly fishing is just a lot more active. And when you're a kid and you're super hyper and super active and you wanted to get out there and enjoy yourself and learn something new, I was just fascinated by fly fishing. And, it's one of those things that I just kept going, kept doing. And it's just a lot more active, a lot more fun for me. I'm not saying that, typical bass fishing is the same. I know those tournament guys just grind it out. But just being where I was at, that was my kind of outlet to explore and have fun. So I really keyed in on that as a child.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. I personally think that fly rods are a better tool or a method of fishing on a river.
Yeah, 100%. Especially smaller rivers that we fish.
Yeah,
that you really can't get a motorized boat up and down.
That's
the way to do it.
Yeah, there was stuff that I really saw, like the reason fly fishing was cool in the Smokies or, like in the park or on these really small trout streams that we did have, that, fly fishing was cool for a certain reason. And I don't know why I decided it, but I was like, well, that's a lot of fun. Why in the world am I not doing that at home? Mm-hmm. Like, why does this only exist in the Smokies, which is like, if you've never been to the Southeast, and fly fished, I get, there's all these places there's tons of places you should go fish. But if you just for the historical aspect of it, if you like to fly fish, you should go fish in the Smokies.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Get up there for
100%.
Yeah. That's where I caught my first trout.
Yeah.
That's same. My first trout came up in the park as well.
Small stream, technical dry fly fishing.
If you can do that, you can catch
water,
trout pretty much anywhere.
That is the place to go for sure.
You may not be able to cast in wind, but you'll be able to cast.
That's true. Yeah, but then there's not a lot of wind up there, though.
Then you see, when I come out here to Montana or Idaho, just get wrecked by the wind. And then people out here are like, oh, this is nothing.
Yeah. But, everywhere has its challenges. But, personally, even people that are big into fly fishing from Idaho, or if you live in Montana, or no matter where you live, I think you should take a trip to go fish in the Smokies. I think it's some of the most historic fly fishing. If you haven't heard a lot about it, you should Google it. Some of the best. So a lot of trout fishing techniques and patterns and everything. A lot of it came out of the Smoky Mountain National Park area. Mm-hmm. But being there, that's kind of what got me into it. My family used to take camping and hiking trips and stuff like that up to the Smokies. I come from an outdoor family that we used to like to go on a lot of weekend trips up to the Smokies and camp. And so that's kind of where I was introduced to it. But I loved doing it, and I wasn't happy with only doing something that I liked to do 3 or 4 times a year. I wasn't okay with that. It was so cool while I was there. I have that river a river 5 minutes from my house. Why am I not doing that same thing 5 minutes from my house on this river? So that's kind of where. And I know Steven is in the exact same boat with that.
I was, similar, but a little bit flip-flopped on that. So I started when I was 8, 9 years old when my mom's work friends would come. I lived on the Flint River, he lived near the lower section of it, just right off of it. And I'd fish that with, my bait caster, my spinning rod for smallmouth as a kid. And then one day when my mom's work friend showed up and started fly fishing, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And so he started teaching me how to do it. I got me a little kit from White River over at Bass Pro Shop one year and had my own setup and started fishing for smallmouth there. And I just was, I loved fishing for smallmouth as a kid. Started fishing for it on a fly rod and was just enamored with it. And then it wasn't until 7 or 8 years later when I was up in the Smokies one time that I actually, I got a guide trip up there because I wanted to catch a trout because, I heard that's, what everybody does, fly fishing. And I'm working it from the back end of things, doing the opposite. And I was just, oh man, this is kind of cool. So
yeah.
Well,
I mean, that was 20 years ago.
Yeah,
Right.
that
That was over 20 years ago.
Well, I guess walk me through, nowadays I feel like there's a lot more resources available. There's YouTube. There are, I feel like a lot more shops and a lot more outfitters just available to people. But walk me through, like, you guys, like, really learning DIY, like, by yourself, getting out, getting your hands dirty, like, just getting after it. And I feel like that's kind of played into how we go about our trips today. It's not like we don't play by the books kind of deal. It's like we don't need every single thing to be planned out. It's like let's just figure it out when we get out there. We know our basics, but like what does that look like with just limited resources, not a fly shop, for you guys, trying to figure out this crazy sport.
I mean, at least even today, I feel like there's a huge lack of resources for people, unless you're going to some big river in Montana or Idaho, or maybe even some rivers in the southeast. There's no information about it. But at least what you're saying is right. You can at least hop on YouTube and watch a video. You can watch a video on like how to nymph or how to the multiple casts that you should know to dry fly fish. You still at least have that information available to you. We were doing it. I mean, we had nothing.
There was
barely
nothing. Any videos out there, barely information out there. You're calling up shops and you're not really getting that good of information. And you're just trying to piece this stuff together with the limited amount of Google Maps that we had today, or MapQuest.
Yeah, MapQuest.
Yeah, MapQuest.
Yeah, like there was like nothing. Like literally all it was like, well, I know that I can get to the river at this spot. So I'm gonna show up down here. Like, I mean, I couldn't freaking drive. My mom would drop me off at the river and come back and pick me up hours later. Like she'd sit on the bridge and just honk the horn to be like, hey, come on.
I believe.
Yeah. So I mean, this is I started doing this stuff before I could drive, but you worked with the equipment you had. I had no idea that there were other rods that you could have. Like, I had no idea that there was a difference in rods or anything. You just had
a rod.
You had a
six-way. That's a rod, right?
Yeah, I had my 5.6 from White River, and I was like, man, this thing is awesome. Little 9-foot deal. I was like, all right, cool.
Great.
Greatest thing ever. I throw poppers. I throw little clouds on this thing. I throw my little woolly burgers I tied up at the house.
Yeah, but there were 4 flies that you could.
I had 4 flies in my box. Yeah.
But hey, the good news is you couldn't buy them either from anywhere near you.
Nope.
I mean, I remember sitting down. I'm gonna sound old. Like, I had like the Cabela's, like they used to mail. I don't know if they do anymore. It was like a Bible.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was like 3 inches thick. You'd open this thing up. It was like catalog order, and I'd like be like, Mom, please can I please get
it? Like, Mom, Christmas, birthday's coming up here.
Yeah,
soon.
like
here's all my stuff I want.
I need like
fly tying stuff and flies.
Like,
and
Mom,
like
please,
that.
like freaking order me like a leader. It's like I don't have leaders. Leaders don't exist in Alabama. Where the fuck are you gonna just go buy a leader?
Oh, the worst was like my first setup. There was no such thing as a loop to loop connection for that.
That didn't exist.
Yeah, I had a little pin at the end of it. And I could either tie it on there or I have to learn how to do a nail knot. You try teaching a 10-year-old how to do a nail knot. Mr. Chiappetta, God bless you wherever you are. I hope you're listening to this, because you're a saint for sitting there for 2 days straight to teach me how to tie a nail knot without the nail knot tool that we have nowadays.
I don't think I've ever needed to use a nail knot. I'm just gonna be honest.
I'm 100%. I'm too stupid to ever learn to do a nail knot. I can do one. I can do one today, but yeah, back then I was stupid. Still am, but I was real stupid. Couldn't do a nail knot.
Rough.
I gave it to my dad, and my dad was like, "Why don't they have some sort of system with these?"
Yeah.
And my dad, I would be like, "Dad, my leader's getting too short.
Yeah.
Can you tie a new one on?"
And it's like a 2-foot section. I'm looking back now, I'm like, why did I have a 2-foot leader for a popper?
Yeah, but
how did I catch fish on this?
But you never knew. Yeah, I never knew any better.
No,
I never knew.
Because there weren't
I
resources.
think but that's the thing. Like, I think too many people get caught up with like needing to know everything. They need to know the exact length of their leader, the exact fly, and that like inhibits them from like even just going out. Like, you guys just went out and were like, let's
trial and error. It's the
let's
best
just
way to
figure
do
it
it.
out.
Yeah, I guess. But back then there was no. Like, I didn't know anyone to ask. I didn't have anyone to ask.
There wasn't anybody around.
There wasn't.
There was a community in town, but like it's a lot of older gentlemen, and we're junior high school kids that. One, we don't have any interaction with these people, and two, there's not a Facebook group that I could have joined at the time.
Yeah,
I don't even
ask
think,
a question.
I don't even think MySpace was a thing at the time. So like,
no.
it was, if nothing else, the only way for us to expand on what we enjoyed was through trial and error. So, and that's kind of what we've brought through going forward. Okay.
We have a 30-minute time limit on our camera that we're making sure that it didn't turn off. All right, we're back. So I guess take me from, kind of hearing a little bit of background. How does, you guys like not having resources, kind of just doing it yourself. How does that turn into then realizing, hey, like, because you guys grew up smallmouth fishing, like that was your thing. I grew up a trout fisherman, going to the Smokies, going to the North Carolina mountains. And that's like all I knew. But you guys were in a totally different situation where you're fishing for, smallmouth. And then walk me from there, and then how, you see that there's like a lack of, I feel like there still is a lack of like just exposure to smallmouth fly fishing, and how how Blue Line kind of comes out of that, and you guys develop these patterns that are more geared towards, smallmouth.
If you ask any of my friends that have the excessive amount of flies of mine, we tie a shitload. And we never stop tying.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing is like, so I've been almost for as long as I've been fly fishing, I pretty quickly realized, because there was no such thing as a fly shop that I could just go to. There's nothing local to me at all. There's no internet that you can just hop on and be like, oh, ship me some bass flies. That didn't exist. So,
well, that's because our mom was on the phone, so we couldn't use the dial-up connection at the time.
Dial-up connection. Yeah. One time I got so close to ordering some flies that my mom called her friend.
Disconnected. Or it was like halfway through. He's like loading the thing, and then disconnected. And you hear mom like talking to her friend in the next room.
You guys aren't that old.
Oh no, our first internet connection was dial-up.
It's that old. We are that old.
we are quite a bit older.
So, but yeah, that was going from not having the resources. I mean, all it was time on the water. I wanted to be there. I mean, that's what I like to do, that for fun. I mean, that's what I enjoyed doing. So I did it. And I mean, I remember like, heck, I like thinking back, like, holy cow, I was awful. I mean, like I was absolutely awful.
Same.
I mean, you got to improve somehow. So if you can look back and see that you were terrible, look now and think I'm a little less terrible, you're doing something right.
I'm still terrible, but hell, I was at least a little less terrible.
We can blame the alcohol nowadays.
But back then, I mean, I didn't have a lot to go off of.
Yeah.
It was just like, I thought that catching like a couple fish was awesome. And a couple
which
brim.
It should be like when you first start.
Sure,
like,
absolutely.
Celebrate
it was
the small little victories
it was.
along the way.
And I remember like that stuff was a lot of fun for me. And so spending time figuring it out was so much more rewarding. Like I felt extremely rewarded when I learned something. Like, and sometimes you like could clearly see what had happened or like what you learned. Like, okay, I just changed the fly to this and moved it this way, and a fish ate it.
Well, and understanding how that interacts too, be able to take that forward is so much rewarding than someone just saying, okay, well, here, take this rod with this fly right here and cast it in that hole right there, and you catch a fish. Like, yeah, okay, when you're first starting off, that's great. You want to have some success, so you keep going on with it. But at some point, you want to start progressing and being challenged, finding that and finding reward in that, and being able to learn from that and being able to improve from that. There's something about that that's just hard to describe, but is essential in any kind of activity that you're looking to improve in.
Yeah, and I think I definitely think there's a lack of it today, but
there's a lot of those people that just want that instant reward nowadays. That I hate to say that social media causes that, but social media is a big deal with that. We see it. I know you see it. We see it in our DMs all the time. It's just like people want that shortcut to get something done. It's like, look, there's not a good shortcut for it. Trust us on that. You got to go through the process for it. So
and it's rewarding if you go through that.
Yeah.
process.
It's way more rewarding.
Yeah.
Because I think about catching these bull trout or whatever that we did last summer, or I think about like catching a tarpon or catching a huge brown trout somewhere, and I'm like all of the fish that went in to me catching that fish is incredible.
Yeah,
it was never. Like, I never rolled up to any stream in my life and was just like cast out and here's a huge monster brown. Like that doesn't exist. It's all the other fish and all the like brim in North Alabama.
Pause for the GoPro.
We're good.
GoPro pause.
Keep going.
I mean, it's all the brim that I caught in Alabama. It's all the bass. It's all the smallmouth. It's the gar. It's all the different fish that I've caught in my life. That I've like put together this knowledge of like fly fishing that lets me go to Canada, dial it in a day or two, and catch bull trout, or go to Belize and catch tarpon. Like all the stuff that I've done here is what lets me do it. It's not because someone says, "Hey, go throw this fly in this hole and strip it this way, and you'll catch a fish."
Like, because what are you taking away from that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, like it was fun and it was awesome.
That's about it.
Yeah, a picture. Yeah. Like what did you learn doing that? Versus, I really feel like where we grew up was like but not. I mean, I'm not like saying it was just a hard knock life or something, but like, I mean, you just didn't have the information for you.
So you had to learn.
You had to learn.
It was habit for us. Like that's just how we've always done that. Is we go out there, we trial and error, we figure this thing out ourselves, and that's just how we've always done it. How we're always going to do it. And to y'all's point, it's a lot more rewarding when we do it that way, and we leave a lot more satisfied, whether we catch one fish or 50 fish.
Yeah, at least we figured it out ourselves. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
I didn't. I mean, how you roughly know how much time I spend on Google Maps. I mean, like I never, like a lot of the places that we fish, we didn't learn even today, we didn't learn these places from Instagram or hired a guide and to say, hey, take me to this spot to catch a fish. Like even a lot of the places we go, like from the Canada trip, I didn't call guides. I wasn't calling up, fly shops and saying, hey, where do I go fish? Hey, tell me where bull trout are. Now I did the research. Yeah. And so when you get there and it works, it's a lot more fun for you.
So real quick, if you slide into my DM or my company's DM and ask us where to fish, I'm going to like your message and I'm never going to reply to it. Yeah. So just a heads up on that. Ouch. I'm not going to be mean to you, but you're going to get ghosted, son.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we should say, for people who are listening and probably don't know, we are actually sitting in a hotel room right now in Ennis, Montana, because there's a blizzard going on outside. We are here shooting what was supposed to be a fall series, some sort of fall series, and we kind of skipped right to winter.
It's not fall.
R.I.P. to that.
Yeah, Adam calls us a few days ago and says, "Yeah, have you guys looked at the weather?" And Steve and I, of course, are no. And it's supposed to be 30, 20, and sub-zero at night.
It was 3 degrees when we rolled in.
It was 3 degrees. Yeah.
So yeah, we ski-daddled past fall here into this trip. So back to your question was like, how did we turn? Yeah. How did we end up
turning
sidetracked
there
from what we were doing to fly company, I guess. So you couldn't go, as we said, we couldn't purchase flies. You couldn't just go down to your local fly shop and then hand you a couple things and say thanks and leave. And back then, even the few poppers that are in the book, I mean, there's not a lot of bass flies.
Fix your hackle.
Yeah, hey, fix your hackle.
You know who I'm talking.
Yeah, I'm talking to you. You know who I'm talking about. Your hackle's messed up. So even back then, you couldn't. There weren't a lot of bass flies. So fly tying was almost a necessity for us. I mean, we both started tying flies shortly after we started fishing, because I mean, you guys that have them internets that can get on there and purchase flies for dirt cheap is like
bluelineflies.com. Check it out.
Blue Line, insert Blue Line plug here. Yeah. You're not that they're dirt cheap specifically for me, but that you can get on and purchase any fly that you want to on the planet, and it be at your house before your next fishing trip. That's still insane to me. Like, it's even though I provide that service, it's still freaking insane to me. I mean, we spent so much time going to the river and not catching fish that it's literally absurd.
It's laughable at this point when we look back at it.
Yeah, when I look back at like 8-year-old me, I'm like, holy cow, you were so stupid.
Why did you put legs on that? You an idiot. What is this? Come on.
You must be the dumbest motherfucker. But I look back at some of those first flies that I've ever tied, because I put a lot of the stuff in a box, actually, that I like some of the first flies that I ever tied. when I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. That's good. Look at that. That's something you'd buy at a shop. And it's like,
So full of yourself. You're showing off your mom. That's great.
oh, that's great, honey. Wow.
Great, love
Yeah,
it.
that looks so good.
Good.
Wow, you should be in a Bass Pro Shop catalog. You're like, yeah, yeah. So you wind up like you have to tie to fish where we live.
Mm-hmm.
Like there wasn't a lot back then, anyways, because there were no flies other than poppers, and poppers just do not. The people from the Midwest, I'm gonna catch a bunch of flack. You're gonna get a bunch of comments. People are gonna be like, "Oh, that's bullshit, Adam." Poppers.
It overheated.
Oh, it overheated?
Yeah, Sam, let it cool down.
Okay, we'll let it cool down. We got this guy. Keep going.
The internet's gonna be all like, "Oh, that's bullshit, Adam." Poppers don't catch big smallmouth day in and day out. It's cool when they work. Don't fucking get me wrong. I love catching a big smallmouth on a popper, and when it does work, it's fucking cool. I'm not saying that it never 100% works. But day in, day out, you do not catch big fish on topwater flies. You don't. Trout included. There's no fish that day in, day out you catch big fish on.
Unless you're going to Alaska and fishing mice.
Okay, unless you're fishing mice.
Yeah.
But that's Alaska. We're not,
that's also
I'm not
Alaska.
I will also say that there are not
This is
very
not
many
smallmouth.
subsurface mice patterns. Because that doesn't really add
You don't
up.
dead drift a drowned mouse.
The old drown mouse. No, I've got some streamers that I would argue could look like a drowned mouse.
Definitely so.
But like poppers just aren't. It's wherever you fish, that's great. And hey, if you think I'm wrong, call me up, put me in your boat, and let me fish all day, and row me down a river and buy me beer, and I may or may not concede to you. But at
Big
least
offer.
That's a stout challenge there, sir.
well, put up or shut up. Internet.
Tell them how hard it is for you to try to get a popper past me as far as a fly to bring out for our company.
God damn it. So y'all like poppers. You do. Like you as the internet really want topwater flies from us. And I get it. And they freaking sell. And there's nothing cooler. And like y'all are still on the thing. And like it's fucking great that like you want to catch a fish on topwater fly. And that's awesome. Like that's great that you're there. And I want you to be there. And you're not getting it from me. And it's because of Steven. Because I want to sell you some topwater flies. I do.
Oh, at least what, 3
Topwater
times a year?
streamer?
You
3
bring
or
out-
4 times a year, I'm like, Steven, what about this? And he's like, why don't you go fuck yourself?
I've only said that twice this year. Right? The other 2
Twice this
times I was
year.
like, we'll consider that. I was very PC about it. You know, you watch these presidential debates and they put stuff off to the side and never answer the question. That's me when Adam brings up a topwater
Steven
fly.
can talk. Steven can talk and not say anything.
I'm really good about
So-
that when it comes to a topwater fly.
Well, I finally kind of got him a little bit. You saw the new topwater streamers. Some of the ones we're coming out with from our Bass Series last summer.
Got a few 5-inch smallies on that.
That's right.
Roll Tide.
You want 5-inch smallies, you come to Blue Line.
No, but they're good and they're different than a popper.
Yeah. So we are going to be coming out with some of that stuff. But even today, you pull up a book of a fly catalog, and it's poppers, and then like a Clouser minnow variant, and you're like, wow, this is fantastic stuff. So I started tying flies. My dad was a big bass fisherman, never like competitive kind of thing, but he was a big bass fisherman. Steven grew up around a lot of competitive bass fishing. I started tying flies to be like, well, can I tie what? I mean, I guess me without the internet was like, well, if they're throwing some sort of, I don't know, Steven knows more about bass lures than I do.
Practically anything that you see out there on the tour with any of these guys, any bass shop, go to Bass Pro Shop, go to Cabela's, you walk down the bass aisle there. Most of those hard baits that you see there, and as well as some of the soft baits there, we can tie up a version of that as a fly, that has a similar action, similar look. It does a similar job as far as, showing off that classification of a bait fish or crawdad or whatever kind of bait that the bass is after.
Y'all haven't seen those, and I'm not showing them to you. Some of the shit we come up with is
There's some dirty stuff that's it's R-rated.
We tie some dirty
it.
stuff, and as well as another conversation that Adam and I have with these flies that we bring out too is that there's certain flies that him and I will cast all the time on 8 weights, but we have to look at it. It's okay. Well, not everybody has an 8-weight. Everybody has like a 5 or 6 or 7,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of deal. So we have to we slowly bring out these larger flies like the Cooter Brown, our Bronze Stout, the Brokeback, which is coming out soon, the Meemaw, which is coming out soon. You know, we're only looking to bring out 1 or 2 of these big, dirty flies that we love to throw every year just because at the end of the day, you know, as much as we love it, it does come out in numbers. They just don't sell as much. So it's hard for us to do it because we love these flies. But, you know,
You want to make sure they're tested too.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, and we get, you know, most of you guys don't have 20 rods to throw flies on. I didn't.
What was that your dad said? told us about us? Because most people have like 1 or 2 rods.
Yeah. Last time when we were filming that fishing, if you guys haven't seen the Smallmouth film with us and Scotty, I guess you should go watch that. Probably
go check it out.
You should pause this right now and go watch
this
it.
and go watch this. But so my dad helps us out some with that film, and he was like, I don't understand. You guys look like bass fishermen. Like you pull out of your boat, you've got like 10 fly rods in your boat. Like you have a different fly rod for every fly, not a different fly for your rods.
We're trying to make them work differently.
And he's not wrong because we do.
But that's been accumulation over.
Well, yeah, that's an accumulation over 20 years of fishing.
Right.
That's not like something that I just went and did. But yeah, I mean, so I started out. I mean, like, as I said, my dad was a big bass fisherman. So dad would go fishing and catch fish, or was doing well. And I was like, oh man, like what did you like? What is that he's throwing? Like, and how come I can't throw that on my fly rod? Well, you can't because it was a 5-weight is the reason, is the answer.
Yeah.
But
short answer.
Treble hook to the back of the neck.
The long and the short of it is that I had a 5-weight. No, I mean, like, you know, people are the people of the internet are going to come find me and beat me up. I'm just kidding, because people on the internet are soft as fuck. But no, the people
looking at you comment section.
There's
looking at you
people
comments,
on the internet.
looking at
A
you
few.
comments. So literally one of the only frog. Even still, I've tied I don't know how many frog patterns. I cannot find a frog that I like more than one that you go to the fucking Cabela's tackle section and buy the goddamn rubber frog with the double hooks on top, with the 16,000 legs hanging out the side of it.
The little like looks like
I cannot. I've tied 100,000 frogs in my life, and I still can't find one that's that good. Frog season on the Bass Lakes, I have an 8-weight with one of those tied on it.
I mean, it works.
I guess we're getting somewhat sidetracked from the original question, but like,
It's a good digression.
one of my points though is that fly fishing is not anything. It's not anything different. It is just a different way of fishing. So it is no different than using a spinning reel, using a bait caster, using a fly rod, are all in the same category to me. The people that think you're high and mighty because you're fly fishing, you're not. You're no different than some dude with a spinning reel. You may just drink.
There's a different technique, and I feel like there's a lot more work, and there's a lot more of like an art form to it in terms of like learning the sport. But I think, yeah, you're right.
The learning curve is steeper.
The learning curve is steeper.
I want to continue this rabbit hole too, and kind of pivot on what we always dealt with at the fly shop when we worked down in Alabama, because all the time people would come in there, and they wouldn't really necessarily be coming there for the fly shop. They may come in there for clothes or something, and they'd be like, "Oh, there's a fly shop in Alabama. Oh, y'all have trout in Alabama?" It's like, well, we're not going to talk about that one.
We're not going to talk about trout in Alabama.
But we'd be like, oh yeah, and you could fish for all these other species. Just start rattling it off. Their eyes kind of glaze over. But it was just one of these predispositions that we figured out, like working the shop there early on, is that a lot of people have this purist mindset with fly fishing, is that you can be on these blue ribbon trout stream throwing a dry fly with a 5-weight bamboo rod or whatever. You know, that whole river runs through it. Stigma for it.
You're wrong.
and that was the biggest thing that we tried within all of our fly fishing classes that we taught and all the guided trips we took, is that you don't have to fly fish for trout. You can fly fish for all these other species, and at the same time, there's multiple ways to fly fish, and there's no right way to do it. There may be a more effective way to do it, but there's not a wrong way. Okay, I say there's not a wrong way. There's plenty of wrong ways, but there's not a right way. And so we find all these times that you get these purists out there. Oh, you can only be dry fly. You can only throw nymphs, or if you're throwing shrimp.
Good man.
Yeah, good man. I still hate you, Mr. Guy on the big hole. All right, that was
Look
one
at
time.
you.
That was one time I threw a trico. But and that's one thing that we try at Blue Line, is like, I don't necessarily like break down these barriers that are up in the industry, but like, because I mean we're just a small company, we don't have that kind of pool, but almost everything that we're doing nowadays, as far as the techniques that we're using, as far as our swivels that go, who was using swivels beforehand? No, you didn't see that anywhere. And we're throwing swivels now with dry flies because it works great. It takes out the whirlybirds, and you can use it for all sorts of things. And this way we tie up our flies, the additions we put onto our flies, the techniques that we use when we're casting these things, like what we're trying to do out here, there's a reason we don't let Scotty film a lot of this stuff when we're out there. It's because when we're trying these R&D things out, we know that it's going to work, and we're trying to get this backlog of credentials to it, because like what happened when we brought out the swivel, one of our buddies who fished with Adam for years, every time he fished with Adam, always had a swivel on there. And Adam was telling him about these swivels that we were about to bring out, and he's like, oh, there's no way that'll work. And I was like, you've used that on the fly line for the last 3 years you fished with me. And it's just
his mind was just blown. Like you can't cast a swivel. Yeah. That doesn't make sense.
And so with these new techniques, these new items that we're trying to bring out, new additions to our flies, we have to backlog. I mean, we do thoroughly test all of our flies, not saying that we don't, but for these other things, we have to do extreme backlogging on the stuff to make sure that, when we bring it out, people don't just lose their goddamn fucking mind. Because there's a lot of things that we do that if I said, hey, we're doing so-and-so, they would be like,
you're doing what?
Get the fuck out! Don't even talk to me right now. So, and it's just one of those things. It's like, I digress even further, but like it's that stigma of that it's a purist sport. It's like no, it's just another way of catching these fish, doing what we love to do. And if we can figure out a way to make it more effective and possibly merge the different types, there doesn't need to be this barrier between spin fishing and fly fishermen that people try to put up there. There's a lot of in between that you can do to merge them together to make an even more effective way of fly
I mean,
fishing.
we have so many of you guys, at least if you're a Blue Line customer.
Yeah.
So many of you guys have emailed me or DM'd me or whatever saying, hey, I spin fish, but I'm getting into fly fishing. And that's freaking great. We want more of those people. And that's awesome. That's a fantastic way to start.
I think it's making the barrier of entry a little bit like smoother. Because it seems like it can be a very intimidating sport.
Right. And because there is a huge learning curve to fly fishing. I mean, and it's like a light switch. Like I used to tell people all the time, the difference is that you actually have to practice. Like you need to practice this. Most people do not fish enough that they are able to just learn when they're fishing. You've got to practice at your house or whatever. You don't have to practice throwing a spinning reel at your house. Just straight up, it's easier.
Well, and to that point, though, there are certain things that if you wanna get good with, is the game about to start? I think so. We'll keep going.
We'll catch up with it.
Yeah, but to that point there, if you're serious about anything, which to fly fishing, there's a steeper learning curve. If you're serious about getting it, you're going to need to practice. But the same thing goes with conventional fishing too. If you're serious about it, like when I was wanting to get into tournament fishing, I'd be out on my front porch flipping a jig to the tree stump out in my front yard, or flipping it to a different tree. You're going to have to practice with anything. It's just that I think people get in that that mindset with the spinning rod where they can go out there, they throw a little crappie jig or whatever and slay on it, that aren't too serious about it, and they try to get in fly fishing. That they need to understand that when you're getting into it, there is a learning curve, that you need to have that mindset. Oh, it's okay, I need to practice, I'm going to have to learn, I need to pick people's brains. I don't necessarily ask them how to do something or where to go, but like, hey, I'm trying to tie this knot here, can you show me how to tie this knot here? I'm trying to figure out how to look for these fish here. Ask those kind of questions. Not, hey, where should I go fish, but ask, hey, how do I look for a place to go fish, like with the last series that you did.
Yeah, straight up, you need to put more time into it. If you're not, if you are getting frustrated and you're not catching the fish and you're not getting the results you need, 100% it's because you're not putting the time in. I mean, it may not be what you want to hear.
It's okay if you're not putting the time in it, but just don't complain.
Don't have those
expectations. That's fine.
Yeah, don't have the expectation of being a master at the sport when you don't put the time into it.
That's exactly the truth. It is easy to go throw a crappie jig on a spinning reel and catch a bunch of fish. But you talk to those tournament bass fishermen, that's not what they're doing.
No.
Those people that are good at bass fishing are the same as me and Steven. They're the ones that are practicing in their front yard for a week before they go on a saltwater fishing trip.
Mm-hmm. And then taking diagrams of the lake and the area around it, trying to figure out where the fish are going to be. It's the same thing that we do with rivers. We're looking, okay, well, can I possibly put in here? I don't know, maybe we need to go drive up and look at it.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've looked at places that I know like the back of my hand on Google Maps, trying to learn them better. And I don't know, working in a fly shop, I had a lot of lines that I used to say, but two of the ones that I like that I've heard from other folks are like, I mean, maybe the PC culture isn't exactly on this one yet, but like Tiger Woods still takes golf lessons. Yeah. Or maybe someone who, isn't in trouble, like Phil Mickelson or whatever. Mm-hmm. That dude still hits practice golf balls. Oh, yeah. Do you think that he rolls up to the Masters and just, like, that's the first golf game he's played?
I guarantee they hit more golf balls in 1 week than I do every year.
Yeah.
Most people do the entire
Well, that's why I fucking suck at golf.
Yeah.
I heard a good analogy in the past, and it's kind of like you've got old Jerry, 80-year-old Jerry, who's been fly fishing for 40 years, right?
Good man.
Good man. Been fly fishing for 40 years.
I bet he throws a purple haze.
He definitely throws a purple haze. And but he fishes one time a year, right? He goes out to Montana once a year. Mm-hmm. So Jerry's been fishing for 40 years, but he's been 40 times. Then you've got, Mr. 20-year-old. Let's call him Steve. We got Steve.
Yeah.
And he's been fishing for 2 years.
But I like this guy already.
He goes 3 times a month. And so you think about like the difference between Steve and Jerry. Like Jerry's only going once a year. Yeah, he can say, "Oh, I've been fly fishing for years," but in reality, what has he really gotten out? Like he's the amount of days that he's gone is way less
negligible
than Steve. Check my math if I'm wrong, but let's pivot on this. And I kind of want to talk from you guys because for people who don't know, we're obviously a different age, obviously, and you guys are from Alabama. I'm from North Carolina. And we had no idea who each other were.
He plays Fortnite. We play Call of Duty.
I don't play Fortnite, but I did in college.
Trying to relate to the internet here.
I'm just trying to relate to our audience here. Give them something they can understand.
But I guess it'd be fun to talk about because we've only known each other for just over a year now, which is pretty crazy. And we've been on some really epic trips. And so it'd be cool to talk about kind of how we got connected. And then how we are now sitting here in Montana in October in a blizzard, and we have the Bus Diaries that has been coming out and will be coming out for the next couple weeks. And so we've got some other cool trips planned. So
long story short, our buddy B bailed on us. We're like, B, bro, what's up with this? And so we're like, okay, well, you got anybody else you want to fish with? And he's like, well, I got this one dude I've been working with. And we're like, all right, cool. And so Adam fished with him, and the rest is history.
That's very shortened version.
The short version is about true.
Yeah.
So we were like, hey man, we need we need someone to do this. If you're not available,
doing like a film.
Working on some video.
We want to shoot some more video stuff. Like Steve and I wanted to get more into the video aspect because we feel like just a quick aside. We feel like that a lot of the videos you see are just fish pics. Hey, isn't this awesome? I just rolled up to this place and like caught this fish. It's not as like educational. We want people learning how to do this stuff, but also like pushing you to the fact that you need to work on this yourself too. Like you can't just watch this YouTube video.
Not just pure fish porn.
And also not be like a stale educational video.
Right.
Which are good for some people.
Yeah, which are there.
Which are there. They're there.
But I feel like there's not a great mixture between the two on the internet, which is what I was like, well, we could bridge that gap. Like we could teach you how to do this. We could be educational. Some of the films, have a lot less views, like the how to e-scouting video has a whole lot less views than Short Bus.
But again, that's a niche one that's specific to just teach people.
Right. But like I feel like we can help bridge the gap between the videos that are on YouTube between fish porn and
clickbait.
Yeah, and
that's just what a lot of it is. It's just
a lot of clickbait.
And so that's what we were working on with B a little bit. B got way busy doing what he's up to. So he was like, hey, there's a guy I've been working with. His name's Scotty. You should hit him up. I was like, okay, cool. What's his number? So I'm calling Scotty. I'm like, yo, bro. What about it?
I got your number. I don't know who you are.
We got a camera. We like to fish.
Yeah,
let's make something happen.
Yo, let's fucking do this. And so Scotty was like, actually, I'm coming out west to do this film. What was the name of that one?
Long time coming.
Long time coming. It was a long time coming, I guess, to come out west.
Yeah.
And so Scotty's bebopping out west. I live like 6 hours south of where he's fishing. So I was like, well, fuck. I might as well scoot over and actually meet Scotty if we're gonna like start planning some shit. Am I in that film? I think I'm in it for like 4
You have
seconds.
one cut. And it's the back of your head. It's like you're just standing there in the water.
How's it feel that Doss in there more than you?
Yeah,
I just didn't want to mix up the audience. I didn't. They'd be so confused. Like,
They would be. They weren't ready for it yet.
That's right.
Yeah. So if anyone caught them, they're wondering who the fuck that dude is. Just standing there in the river.
That's Skinny Powers.
Skinny Power.
They were like, yeah, they weren't ready for the belligerent, degenerate blue line crew yet. So, but I needed, obviously, we had to make sure that you jived with the degenerate blue line crew.
And he fit in well.
and you fit in well.
Surprisingly so. It was a little scary, actually.
Yeah, I was actually like, wow, this guy's actually like,
So fast
he's
forward.
actually cool.
Fast forward what? Like it was like 2 or 3 weeks because we went.
Yeah,
to,
this was only like 2 weeks later, 2 or 3 weeks later. We bought you a plane ticket.
Yeah,
Because we were trying to link up in Boone, and we just gonna make that happen while I was out there.
My first time fishing out west. Like I had fished in Colorado like in my freshman year of college, but it was not really fishing out west. It was like a day, and we were like whatever. But anyways, that was like my first real western experience was like going to Montana, and then little pit stop.
All right. We'll fill you in when you get back.
And then like 2 weeks later, or 2 or 3 weeks later, we're like going up to Canada in Adam's truck to go chase bull trout.
Dude, and so like that was for us at least, that was an epic fishing trip. You know, we've been coming out west for 8 or 9 years, just packing up the truck and coming out here for a month or so and just bumming around. And shout out to our manager Carla, if you're listening to this, for just not scheduling us while we were out here. You're the best. That being said, we've just kind of, I guess each time we've just kind of elevated our trip. You know, what can we do a little better this time? What can we do a little better this time? And then, you know, we'd kind of mess around with bull trout the time before that we were out here. Not so much mess around them, but we were fishing one of these tributaries for cutties, some West Slope cutthroat, because we hadn't caught those before. And we were like, oh, there's bull trout in there. You can't really catch them. And, you know, oh, okay, cool. Well, we actually saw what a bull trout was, and we were like, I want to catch that.
Wow, that's big.
I was like,
where can I actually fish for this?
Yeah, and you know, we started doing some research, and it's very, very restricted on how you can fish them in the States, because while they're not endangered here, or endangered in general, they're endangered in the United States. Don't ask me how that works. Adam, thank God he's not here, because he'd go on a huge tangent about that. But anyway, so we started planning this trip for to run up to Canada, because they're everywhere. You have to get a special permit to fish them, but it's not that much more. As long as you have that, you're good to fish, and they're just, like I said, they're big, they're thick in there, and it's just a blast to fish. They're in just rough country, beautiful scenic area. And so while we're planning this, you know, like you were saying there, we were wanting to put some footage together, you know, kind of explain how we do this do yourself kind of deal, as well as get this trip in there. And man, that was an epic journey. And I kind of want to, you know, what I was leading into with that is like, you know, that was a brand new way of fishing for you. You've done a little bit of the out west stuff, you've done a little bit of the streamer stuff here and there, but like that was, your mind was completely blown. Like it was new for Adam and I, but still, you know, it's still in that kind of same channel that we're used to fishing in. But like for you, I want to know your reaction. What happened? You get out there, you're in the middle of fucking nowhere. You know, we had that one day we walk up there and we're like cut off by a bear. We're trying to get back up the truck. Like you're just like, what the fuck? And then you hook into that massive fucking bull. Like, well, give me your impression on that trip.
To say the least, I was not familiar with casting sink tip or an 8-weight. I think growing up fishing like a 4 to 6 weight. 6 weight was heavy for me, right? And so that was, I might have to get one of these.
Oh yeah, go for it, dude.
Six, but like fishing, you know, big.
Sponsored by Trolley.
Yeah, that's our sponsor for the podcast today. Trolley gummy worms. But fishing a big rod and fishing sink tip and heavy flies was so out of my comfort zone, and I was getting really frustrated. I know at first because I was like, of course, with these guys, I'm like, oh, I gotta like impress these dudes. Like or just like I'm trying to keep up, you know.
Just a side note: anybody that fish, you don't have to impress us.
I wasn't trying to impress, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
if you want to impress us, bring some whiskey.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it was such a learning curve for me on that trip, and it was very humbling because you know I think I got very comfortable in like what I was doing out in the East Coast, which is great. But I think going out there and seeing this whole other world of fishing, especially streamer fishing, was really impactful, I guess, for my just outlook on the sport. And so one Canada was epic. It blew my mind just getting there. And obviously I wasn't really familiar with bull trout, honestly, before that. Like I didn't really understand the hype of bull trout. I'd seen a few videos like, oh, there's bull trout in there, but I didn't think anything of it. And then when we like moved and like caught the first couple bull trout, it was like wow, this is the real deal.
Yeah, so that first day on that one river that shall not be named. I feel like I'm in a Harry Potter movie right now. But hooking in that first bull and that thing just savaged the rod, and you're just like, I guess I'm not savaging fish out here; they're savaging me. That was just insane. And then right after that, we had the bear cow scare.
We did.
I've never smoked crack. But I tell you what,
Thank you for clarifying that before you get into the conversation.
Let's let him talk. I need to hear this.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I've never smoked crack.
Okay.
But
Fair enough.
people who smoke crack love it. I mean, they love crack, and I feel like that.
I want to see where you're going with
Continue, please.
Blue Line does not have an HR department, and that's a good thing.
We're about to change that.
So, yeah, we're going to have to hire an HR manager. If you know anyone, submit your resumes. I feel like the first time I saw bull trout was probably like a crack addict the first time they smoked crack. I was like, wow, that is fantastic. That's good stuff, and I need more of it. And that's my take on bull trout.
Chill, Tyron Biggins. I need you to chill.
When we were on some weird river in Montana that you are not allowed to fish for bull trout on, we went because we heard there was like some just insane cutthroat dry fly fishing. And we saw, as you mentioned, some bull trout on that trip. And I was like, holy shit, I have to go do that. I have to. Mm-hmm. So I started doing a bunch of research. I knew there were some places in Montana that you can target them, some places in Idaho. But, most of the extent of the bull trout range is Canada. And that's why I was like, well, the U.S. has so much red tape and all sorts of bull crap that you have to deal with because they are more rare in the U.S. They're not really an endangered species per se.
They're more protected, maybe.
They're a protected species, but they're not. The only reason that there's a bunch of red tape in the U.S. because there's not very much habitat in the U.S. that they exist in. It's not because the habitat's gone. It's not because it's been depleted. It's because the habitat in the U.S. isn't really there for them. It's mostly in Canada. So Canada has way less red tape, and they want you to, the U.S. almost doesn't want you to fish for them. I mean, they make it so difficult, per we saw our short Bus Diaries, too, how difficult the U.S. wants it to be to fish for bull trout. Versus Canada's like, yeah, come up here and freaking fish for them. Like, that sounds great. Just...
There's still special permits set in place, I think, because...
But there's that... It was...
It's
how much was it? It was $10
$15 a day, I think, on top of your fishing permit.
It
was minimal.
I mean...
And the regulations weren't that... I mean, a single hook streamer, okay, cool.
Okay, great.
Fine,
we were doing that anyways. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah. Single hook... barbless.
Yeah,
single hook barbless. Yeah. And you can go... And hey, here's where the bull trout are. Here's where you need to go find them. And you can find information on it. I mean, from the state too, not just from
a fly shop.
Yeah, fly shops or whatever. It wasn't some hush hush thing that you're pushing people to do in the U.S. So when we really decided to start, doing that trip, I was like, man, I've got to figure out how to go catch some bull trout.
So because Steve and I did zero research before this, and so
I guess I have Adam.
This is a good example because we talked about this a little bit in our scouting video, but this being a DIY trip, it wasn't a guided trip, and like most of our trips, and you kind of walk me through how we landed in Canada and the process of going through Google Maps and kind of figuring it out that way.
So one of the big rivers had bull trout in it, 100%. There were. In just a quick Google, you could find 8 guided services taking you up this big river on these jet boats and all this goofy shit. And I was like, all right, so that exists. So I knew that bull trout would be in the tributaries per our Montana experience fishing for cutthroat and seeing I was like, oh, wow, that's a weird log. Holy fuck, that log is swimming. Jesus fucking Christ, it's 8 feet long.
I'm going to get out of the water now.
Yeah, I'm scared for my life at this point.
Do not swim here.
As, in a river that's as wide as this hotel room. So with a quick research, figured out that that's where they were. They didn't have, seasons, time of years that you could or couldn't fish or anything like that. all the water was open. You just had to, as Steven said, purchase an additional like little pass thing to be able to target and fish for bull trout. So we're like, oh, that's super simple. We'll do that. So that's a very long, big river. So Google Maps. I mean, I literally cannot tell you how many hours I spent on Google Maps trying to find like the right places to go. We have a raft. I'm sure you've seen from some of our stuff. If you watch anything with Scotty, you've seen us like use some boat ramps that are less than ideal.
The Red Rocket.
The old Red Rocket. The Red Rocket's seen some days. # thank you, Sotar. But so I'm not worried about put-ins as much, and put-ins and takeouts. Like I'm trying to find good water that I think is accessible. So okay, this here's a tributary to this main river. Let's freaking figure out a way to go up it. So okay, here's a tributary to this main river. Let's run up it and see what we find. I figured out there was a boat launch, a boat slide, just like from Short Bus 1 episode. There's a big boat slide. Oh, you've got some footage of it in Northern Natives.
It overheated?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so people who don't know, I guess we are talking about our Northern Native series that we shot last year. And if anyone wants to go check it out, it's on YouTube. But that's kind of give people some context if they don't know what we're talking about. They can go watch that.
Yeah, go watch that. I can't remember what episode. I think it's episode 3 is the main one that we shot on this really small tributary. There was a big boat ramp boat slide that we had to do to get down to the water. So in going down, trying to find the access to this river, we really, got out of the way of a lot of the other anglers, a lot of people. It wasn't just, call up a fly shop and say, hey, where do I go? I mean, this place was way, way more off the beaten path than anything that we had ever found.
But, I mean, it paid off, though, doing that research.
But yeah, I mean, doing all the research for it paid off. I mean, Steven's been on plenty of trips with me that I'm like, hey, this is going to be great. Oh, this fucking sucked.
It happens.
It happens. But he also knows that every once in a while we turn up, like the Canada series where I found some river in the middle of goddamn nowhere, Canada, that we did this boat ramp on. We saw 0 other boats, towards the end of summer, but like perfect weather, weekend, there was not another boat on the water.
Nope. Don't see that too often.
We saw one other person fishing, and they were on the bank at the boat ramp at the takeout at a bridge. Like, where else are you going to find that stuff? Like, that's not the kind of information that you're going to get on,
No shop's going to tell you that.
Some shop or some YouTube or some,
some blog.
Some fishing blog or DMing Scotty and asking him where it is.
Yeah, please don't ask me where I'm fishing
because he doesn't know.
I'm not going to tell you. I'm
just
sorry.
liking ghosted.
Yeah, because he has no idea where we were.
We blindfolded him.
I do get a fair amount of people asking me like, "Hey, I'm coming to Boone, or I'm coming this and that, like to fish. Like, where should I go?" And like, I get it if like, if you're, I get like the premise because I definitely was in that boat, but I think people should understand like, we have all put in time to like research and go out and like really put in time like exploring these creeks. And so even though we're not like don't get upset that if we're not answering you, it's because we've like put in this time. We're not just gonna hand you over this silver platter of all right, here's where you go. Like I think one of the goals that we are always trying to, or things we're trying to share with people is like get out and just do it. Like just try it yourself. Like see what comes of it. And I think it's important to go back to understanding your fundamentals, like of fly fishing, understanding even the fundamentals of river. Like you're saying, like we weren't told to go to that river, that tributary. Like we understood that, like in the main channel, it's well known that there's bull trout and cutthroat, and so we know that up the tributary, there's going to be fish as well.
Yeah.
And so I think like things like that's where you should be spending your time, like trying to understand and figure out, opposed to like, oh, what fly are you using on this river, in this exact spot, or what's your leader tip at length, that kind of thing.
A lot of it goes back to the fact that what we really learned bass fishing, which is smallmouth and largely largemouth as well, are extremely, I mean, they're opportunistic feeders, but they're predatory fish. They're not sitting there eating small little bugs off the surface, largely. Smaller trout, even big trout do that, don't get me wrong, but, predatory fish that are really looking for a big meal are not, sitting there looking up, trying to eat, a size 48 trico, unless you're in Craig. I don't know what the fuck is happening in Craig.
Or in the South Holston.
Or maybe on the South Holston. Like, it happens once in a blue moon, just like you'll catch a big fish on a popper. But, like, that's it.
But if you want to actually target big fish,
right.
You're saying.
Right. If you want to target big fish, those fish are trying to find a real meal. That's like handing me one taco from Taco Bell and saying, like, hey, go check that out. But, like, you hand me a taco pack, and I'm like, well, now we're talking. And, in our smallmouth, trying to figure out, like, how to catch bigger and bigger and bigger smallmouth, that's what we were really learning. I mean, and I used to fish for 4 or 5 days a week for smallmouth. And then when I started trout fishing, or I started trying to catch bull trout, or I started trying to catch, different kinds of fish, I'm like, oh shit, this is the same damn thing. It's no different trying to catch a brown trout in Ennis in a fucking blizzard than it is to catch a smallmouth in Alabama in July. It's the same technique. It's the same. They're looking for the same thing. Those fish have the same triggers. Like, it's a predatory fish, and that's what it's looking for. Is a wounded fish,
yep.
Essentially. So it doesn't matter where you're fishing that. If you learn those concepts at home, you can go apply them to anywhere else in the world. You want to go tarpon fish in, I don't know, fucking Nicaragua or whatever. Tarpon are looking for a wounded bait fish. You go brown trout fishing, guess what? They want a wounded bait fish. It's the same thing.
It's crazy when you think about it. You think, like, how it seems a lot more complicated, but in reality, not saying it's not complicated because I haven't fished for tarpon or I haven't fished for this and that, but the general premise of, like, streamer fishing, it is fishing with a wounded bait fish.
That's it.
And it can be used across the board. So it's not like you can only use this technique for smallmouth. You can only use this technique for trout. Like, it can be used across the board in various places.
Well, and I think the big thing, too, to that point is that as far as the streamer fishing is concerned, there is a huge learning curve as far as getting those techniques down. And people try to overcomplicate it by trying to break it up into different species. That they need to understand is that, no, it's just, there's just a generalized ideal for streamer fishing. You run through that learning curve. You learn the techniques of, okay, if I'm going faster, slower than the current, the bait fish look like this, what's the bottom look like that. You get those general concepts down. To Adam's point, you can apply that to any kind of predatory fish that you're looking for as far as streamer fishing is concerned. So while, yes, it is simple on the back end of things, the initial startup on it is very complicated to learn those techniques. But don't try to overcomplicate the complicated process by thinking you need to break it up into different species. It's going to work regardless.
A wounded bait fish swims the same way. I don't care what the wounded bait fish is. If it's a panfish, if it's a sculpin, if it's something down in the saltwater. Like, it's all the same shit.
The only thing changing up for us mostly is coloration and hook size. That's about it.
But that goes back to my point that fishing with a fly rod is no different than fishing with a spinning reel, except for the type of beer that's in your cooler. That's it.
There you go, from Coors Light to Crafty.
I'm sure we're going to have some people disagreeing with that, but,
I'll see you in the comment section.
Yeah,
we'll see you in the comments. Come fight me.
So I guess to pivot off that, what would you say for somebody who's, whether it's getting into the sport of fly fishing, trying to transition, or trying to get into streamer fishing, like, what would you say, would be your 2 cents to somebody?
100%. The number one thing is just as long as you have blue line flies, like, that's all you need.
Check.
No, it's just like practicing your fundamentals at home when you aren't on the water. Like, just going back to my thing, like, Alabama doesn't practice just when they go play football on Saturdays.
All right.
They practice 20 days a week. Like, I'm pretty sure.
If you count morning fitness practice, midday practice, and the afternoon practice, you get that 5 times.
They are not practicing just when they go play a game. And if you actually want to get good at this sport, you want to be into it. If you don't live near water where you can go fish 4 times a week, you will never ever get good enough to really fulfill what you're looking for by going and fishing 6 times a year. You won't do it. I mean, you simply will never get good at something that you do for 6 times a year.
And let me break that down a little bit further too, as far as practicing is concerned. There's two main things, at least in my mind, as far as practicing go. And one is work on your casting technique, whether you're trying to throw an 8 or 10 weight because you have a saltwater trip coming up, or you're working on, throwing smaller flies and shorter distances. Don't go for that parking lot cast for a 30-yard shot. Put a hula hoop out, 10 yards, 15 yards away from you and practice hitting the shorter cast, because that's 9 times out of 10, that's the cast you need to be making. That's how you need to be accurate. And the second thing besides practicing your casting is practice tying knots. That's the second biggest thing. That's probably the biggest failure point I see on a lot of people that miss fish, is your knots are just not that great. Practice your surgeon knot. Practice your double surgeon knot. Practice your blood knot. Practice your clinch knot. I know there's plenty of nights I'd be at the shop. We'd be extremely slow. I didn't have my tying stuff there. I would sit there and tie blood knots for hours on end.
I mean, like, just...
Scotty over here at Bull in a China shop.
I mean, I identify your weak points. Like, one of the reasons I got into practicing my knots, I mean, I know y'all probably think that I'm just like fucking crazy, but like, I hated when I started like fishing 2 flies, which is like such a trout thing. Like, you find me now, like, I'll never fish just like 1 fly unless it's like maybe hopper season or salmon flies, but that's it. Like, I'm almost always run 2 dries or a dry drop or 2 nymphs or 2 eggs on a rig.
Or 2 eggs and 2 worms.
I was like, wait, did I hear that right?
Maybe like 2 eggs and 2 worms.
Someone's like, is he crazy?
We'll pin an egg.
But that's part of the point, is like, I got to where I was like, this fucking sucks. Like, I spend 20 minutes retying this if I break off. So what did I do? I mean, yeah, I'm crazy, but like, I sat down and I could tie those knots so fast. And like, it's not just one thing, like, oh yeah, I can tie a clinch knot, great, or I can tie a blood knot or a double surgeons, whatever, great. It's like learning to tie those when your hands are frozen. If you can tie them like the better you can tie them sitting at your desk in perfect conditions, the better you're going to be able to tie them when it's 4 degrees outside and snowing and you can't feel your hands. Like, right. You're going to...
Like yesterday.
Right. Like, like maybe like yesterday. So, practicing that stuff at your house is going to make you a better fisherman. And in my eyes, I'm not saying you have to do that. You can go out and have fun. I mean, people can go fish 2 or 3 times a year and have a freaking great time. Yeah. But don't expect to go catch monster fish doing that. It's great if you do. And I feel like you're at that point, you're asking like luck to figure out, you were in the right place at the right time and your guide handed you the right fly and you cast it out there. And it was one of the few great casts that you made of the day and you caught an awesome fish. And there's nothing against that. It's just, don't expect to go do that day in, day out. Yeah. Or don't ask me how I'm doing it.
I feel like for the longest time I was always going out in hopes of like, oh, maybe we'll catch a big fish today. Kind of like that's the hope. And like, maybe my fly will be in the right position in the right time. But I think what I've realized, especially when it comes to streamer fishing, if you actually want to catch big fish, there is a technique and there's a way to go about that, where you can actually be setting yourself up in a better position to catch those fish, opposed to just going out there in hopes or with luck, in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
And I feel like anytime you're going out, there should always be something you take away from the day, whether it's the most minute thing or if it's a big, key thing that happened that day. Whatever it is, maybe you go out and you lengthen your tippet just a couple inches, right? Mm-hmm. And that is the thing of the day. It's like, oh my gosh, like try to pick up on those things, and anytime you get off, just try to take something away from that day. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Opposed to just going out and being like, oh, we went fishing today. Like, what did I learn that day? You know, what can I apply now to the next time that I learned?
It's a lot more in depth than a lot of people, I imagine, would ever want to go. And maybe you never want to go like that in depth, but also don't think you're ever going to be that great at it if you don't put those things to use at home.
And that's okay if you're not like that into it. That's totally
great.
okay. Mm-hmm. I think the point is just like, you know, don't complain if you're.
Yeah, but don't complain about it. Like, hey, you went and caught a couple fish. That's fucking awesome.
Fish don't care about your feelings.
No. Yeah, no, they don't. No, like PC culture does, and you know the internet cares about your feelings, but like fish
PC
don't.
Culture cares about your feelings. They care about cancel culture.
They care about like
cancel
kombucha.
Culture, yeah. But fish don't care about your feelings. They don't care. Fish don't care.
Yeah.
But don't complain about it. If you don't put the work in, don't expect to get it back. If you want to put the work in, do it. But I don't think a lot of people would ever get to the point that like I'm at, where I like my whole life is eat up with this shit. But like if I go and not catch fish, you know, I feel like it's different. But like if you didn't do anything to prepare, you're not practicing your casting, and you went fishing twice this year and you caught 2 fish and you weren't very happy with it, well, that's on you. That's not on the flies you were using. That's not on your equipment. That's not on what brand beer you were drinking. That's on you, bud.
Yeah. And I think it's also important not to compare yourself to other anglers, because I think a lot of people starting out can, especially with Instagram. I didn't have Instagram starting out.
It's rough with social media these days. Yeah, you look at everybody's grip and grin photos, and okay, well, cool. Yeah, well, they've been doing this for 15, 20 years or whatever. They're on, this special guide trip, or they're
a guide. They get to be out on the water every day, or like they live, right next to the river. Like
don't
that's
compare
okay.
yourself to other people. You're never going to be happy at that point.
Take it each step at a time.
Yeah, regardless of what stage, or what hobby.
But I mean, that's exactly the point. Is like you don't like you have no idea what that guy from that grip and grin picture that you're seeing on Instagram, you may have no idea what went into that picture. Like,
no, not at all.
And it might be stuff, and that is totally fine if it is, but it might be stuff that you would never ever want to dedicate yourself to do. So don't compare yourself to it. Or your fishery. Like if your fishery at home grows 16-inch fish and you catch a freaking 18-inch fish, be fucking jazzed on that.
Yeah.
Like, that's great for the area that you're in. You have to, like you're out here in Montana and you catch a fucking 20-inch fish and you're like, oh, great. Toss that back in. Like, we don't need a picture of that. But
think of those nice fish we caught yesterday there. And even that chunky one you caught. It's like, okay, yeah, it's a great fish. Okay, how do I get a fish like that? It's like, well, get out here when it's 20 degrees outside and row down this river when the wind's blasting it. How many other people did we see on the water yesterday?
We saw one guide boat when we put in. That's it.
Yeah, doing the short float. We did the full float in the windy section. We were pulling fish out in that windy section. There's a lot more that went into that. That's just the upper level, but like that was rough conditions. That we were tired, we were sore, we were cold, our faces were wind burned by the end of the day. Like we were beat. But we got some nice fish, got some great pictures, But again, if someone's trying to compare themselves to that, don't. Like that was some rough conditions.
Right. Or don't look at fish that were caught. Don't look at a freaking 30-inch brown out of Montana
or New Zealand
living in freaking Boone, North Carolina, and be like, fuck that dude. Oh man. Like, you catch a freaking 12-inch fish around there, like, oh, that's freaking great. That's awesome. Good job.
Yeah.
But you can take those techniques to go catch bigger fish elsewhere, but that doesn't mean you have to. Mm-hmm. Like maybe you don't have the time or the money or the resources or the means to go catch, to go to the places that grow these big fish, and that's fine. Like one of the main things with Blue Line is like we want you guys doing stuff near your house. Like when I worked at a shop, it made me so mad when I would see those people that would come in and say, "Oh yeah, I only fish in Montana."
Oh God,
And you're like, "Great, okay, so you fish twice a year, fantastic, good for you."
Have you ever tried to fish for smallmouth? Well, no. It's like, well, there's a smallmouth stream 5 minutes that way. Why don't you go over there and try to catch them? I guarantee you'll have just as much fun, if not more, and spend none of the money you would to go out to Montana.
Right. Oh no.
No, that's not fly fishing. No, that's
like I have zero respect. I have zero respect for the people that do that. None. If you're not like, it's fantastic to go to Montana, and I go to Montana all the fucking time.
We're in Montana right now.
I'm in Montana right now in a fucking blizzard. But like, I used to fish 4 days a week in fucking Alabama, the mecca of fly fishing. For those of you who don't know, quit bitching about where you're at, what you have, what's available to you, because it's whatever you have is better than what either of us started out with, and the information that's available to you is fucking insane compared to the information that a lot of the people who started with. But it's the time on the water. That's the only way that you will ever get better at it. So if you have like a golf course pond, a little community lake, there's a fishing area near you, there's a river, stream, whatever. Maybe it's even freaking, maybe it's sunfish or panfish, whatever you call them where you're from. Go fish for them. You don't have to go to Montana in a blizzard to catch fish. Or you don't have to go to Patagonia.
You can.
I mean, definitely take that advantage if you can.
And do it when the trip comes around.
Practice beforehand.
But but don't expect to show up and catch fish if you fished twice that year. I mean, you can't expect to get out of it more than what you put in it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people see the videos and the trips that we've been on, which has been awesome. But I think they're like, oh, I want to go on these trips one day, and that's great. You should explore and adventure and get around the country. Fly fishing is a great way to explore the world, in my opinion, one of the best ways. But I think on the same side, it's like you can still enjoy your local fisheries, going on small, like even just day trips with your buddies. Like that's what it's all about, and I think that's what we're trying to kind of convey to people with these videos. Is like you don't need to plan a huge epic trip. Just get out with your buddies, throw the rods in the back and find somewhere that has some fish.
I mean, that's what Short Bus, I feel like, is more about than some epic adventure. I mean,
our bus goes 55 miles an hour. Like,
it's not governed, people on the internet. It's fucking slow.
It's actually that slow.
We got to go downhill to get over 55. All right, let's just
it will go over 55. It is not governed. I swear to God.
Do you feel safe when it's going over 55? No.
But that's what it's about. It's like, go try to find these places and do these things yourself, and it's way more rewarding. If you go, it's gonna suck, but don't compare yourself to the people of Instagram. If you go fish 3 or 4 days and you get skunked, like I've done it, all of us have done it.
Yep.
Every famous fisherman that has done it. It's like you just have to go. Try some different things, try some different techniques, some different flies. But that's what from Blue Line, that's what we're trying to more accomplish, is because even out here out west, the closest thing to you may not be a Blue Ribbon Trout River. It still might be a brim pond or a bass pond or something that's got some carp in it, or and for most people in the US, that's what you're going to have closer to you than some big trout river, is a place that you could go catch a couple of stocked largemouth bass or some stocked brim
or some stocked rainbows, browns,
something stocked trout if you're lucky enough. We didn't have that in Alabama, but fucking fine. Like, if you can find a place to do it, go do it. And that's a lot of what we wanted to push, was like, if we can get people to get jazzed about some of their more local fisheries than going to Montana. Maybe you don't live in Montana. Maybe you live in like the South somewhere like we do. If you could get jazzed on going and catching a couple brim or a couple sunfish, or maybe maybe you're lucky and you catch a couple of bass. Like, if you could get jazzed on that, and you start working and you start learning more about fishing at home, you're going to become a so much better fisherman when you do go on that once in a lifetime guide trip in Montana. You hop on a boat with a guide and he's like, hey, cast over there up underneath that bush. And you're actually able to make that cast. It'll be a world of difference for you being able to do that.
Yeah, I think another thing is not needing permission from people. I think too many times people like, oh, are there going to be fish there? Like they need permission from either it's a fly shop, their buddy, someone on Instagram. Just go out and try it. At the very least, it's you don't catch anything. That's totally
mark it off your list at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all about exploration. That's the guiding factor, at least for me, on these things. Like go out, find new rivers. Always be looking for something else to fish. Don't get locked into fishing this all the time because that happens. One of our favorite rivers back home that Adam and I grew up on right now. We fished that all the time because as kids, well, that's what we had access to. Too, is it fished very well for us. And then all of a sudden, the last 10 years or so, it's become a very popular kayaking spot. And so,
people that kayak,
don't do that on my river.
The plastic hatch.
I don't like you.
The plastic hatch.
like it's great that you're outdoors and you're cool, and I love your camo hat. But for real, like, get off my water.
But yeah, so like it forced us to start exploring again. Something we hadn't done in years, and it's one of those things we had to relearn. And one thing, especially in the shop when we were having to look for these things, we wanted to pass on to other people. It's like, look, constantly keep looking because that one golden stream, that one honey hole, that one place that you love to fish all the time because it always produces, and you feel at home there. That may not be there in 5 years. That may not be there in 10 years, which is happening more and more. It seems like so. Constantly be exploring, looking for new places. Like Adam was saying, I don't really care where you are unless you're in the like fucking Mojave or something. Like you're going to have water around you.
If there's water,
there's something.
Yeah, and don't be a fucking purist around it. Like I know plenty. One of our favorite fucking things to do when we had free time was go to the carp flats and fish for carp. We were late for work several times. We'd have to call up our boss, but hey, we're hooked into a giant carp right now on a 6-way. We're gonna be a couple hours late to work here. Like just fish. Like, it's dead heat of summer. It's 110 degrees outside. You can't fish for anything else because they're all stuck to the bottom. Well, carp are fucking hitting. Gar are fucking hitting. There's always something that's going to be biting.
There's something.
Yeah.
There's something going on that you can go do. And don't fucking make excuses. You see people in the fucking South Fork of the Snake, or they're on the ranch at the Henrys, or they're throwing purple hazes. Or they're throwing fucking purple hazes up in who knows where. Up somewhere. Yeah. Up somewhere. And it's like you just have to go do stuff at locally. I have zero respect for people that I talk to at home that I went to Montana. Okay, that's cool. What do you do in Alabama? Oh, nothing.
But I think that's kind of this general misconception around the sport that like you have to do it a certain way. And I think one of the things that we're all trying to do is kind of break down those barriers, and those misconceptions to make it easier for people to be like, oh, I can just go check out this pond nearby, and that's totally okay. Like I don't have to worry about someone judging me, or I don't have to worry about this being like not the right thing to do.
Think of it as practice. Even if you don't want to go. I mean, if you've ever played a sport and you had to go to practice and you didn't want to go to practice, right? Think of it that way. The same thing. You will never ever be good when you finally get the invitation, or you finally plan that awesome trip to Montana. You plan that awesome trip to go throw purple hazes on the Henrys. Like you finally get the opportunity to go do it, and you live somewhere like in that's not fucking the mecca of fly fishing. Then you're going to be more prepared. You're going to be more things are going to apply to you more. You're going to be able to cast better. You're going to be able to land your casts where the guide is asking you to if you have a guided trip. If you go wading, things are going to start adding up. The amount of fish are one of the fucking dumbest animals on planet Earth. Like the people of the internet that think that they are like some magical, like a fucking unicorn that you found, and you have to like pet it and like make sure that it's like safe, and shit's hard out there for fish, Like when you finally get to do that stuff, and you get to fish for those fish, it's the same damn thing. Fish live in the same kind of water on every river on the planet nearly. They do the same things. Like hydrodynamics doesn't change if you're in Montana versus Boone, North Carolina. Bugs are in the same water because the way that they go down a river doesn't change. The depth that they're at in the seams and the rifts, behind in the rocks. Water acts the same way on the entire planet, probably. Asterisk.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Bring me to
I
science.
haven't been everywhere in the planet.
Yeah.
Like I
Gurus
don't.
out there can fact check.
Okay, legit. I don't know what's happening in Australia. Those people, things are weird there.
They got it going on though. Fishing.
But other than Australia and their water, if you spend time on the water and you learn these things on the water in fucking North Alabama, they are applicable to the rivers in Canada, Montana, Idaho. It doesn't matter where you are. The more time you spend on a river, the more you learn about the way the fish eat on the river, the better you're going to do when you go. When you finally get to go capitalize on that one trip of your lifetime that you're just yearning to go fish, like Patagonia. Well, guess what? If you spend a bunch of time on a river in Alabama or fucking Georgia or wherever you're from, and you go to Patagonia, the water's going to be the same. You're going to be looking for the same kind of water. You're going to be able to cast better at those holes that the maybe guide, maybe not, is saying like, hey, cast right behind this rock right here. You're going to be able to make those casts better because you did it at home.
Right. I think just because, like, I think I ran into this a lot, is like I would fish somewhere locally at home, and the techniques would work, but then I'd go out to Montana and be like, oh my god, I gotta switch. Like, what do I do? Like, I'd have to ask the shops, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, this and that, and I'd expect to have to change my whole game up. But in reality, a lot of those techniques do transfer over.
Pinning eggs.
Yeah.
Works everywhere.
No matter where you're at.
I don't care where you are.
Yeah, so I think that's a great point. But I guess to kind of start to wrap this up, I think we've covered a lot. It's been a great conversation. Maybe we've covered a lot. We've rambled for sure.
I mean, that's the whole point of a podcast, is to ramble.
This is.
If you have a clear, concise point of the podcast, I don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
That's not a podcast.
We're learning. This is the first one. We're learning as we go. But I guess for you guys, two things. But first off, I'd like to ask before we close up, do you guys have anything exciting going on with Blue Line in the next couple months that you want to share?
So I will glad to announce this. We'll be posting this here in the next few days. By the time this is out, this will be old news. But we've been delayed since the start of quarantine because of COVID on getting our reorder going on, which hit us pretty hard this year. We've been out of stock of a lot of flies. They actually are coming in here Monday. So by the time I get home, they should be on my front door. I'll be processing orders all week, and we'll be getting these back orders out, as well as we'll be finally getting our website up to date. And I think we got some new flies coming in too that have been back ordered. A Brokeback and a Mima, I believe. So I know that's been in hot demand.
Yeah, guys, I so much appreciate the support, the people that have placed orders. Even if you tie, we appreciate you placing an order with us. We're not some big company. Legitimately, it's me and Steven running this shit out of our basements. Like, this isn't like you're not supporting some big cause or some big company. We're not putting this money back in our pockets. Like, this money's going to everything that we're spending is all back into like fishing community, things like that. But yeah, COVID affected our production in ways that we could have literally never imagined. We never, ever before COVID had issues with supply. We never had problems getting flies. We've never been out of stock on flies. And then we did this video during COVID, which we had already planned, and all of a sudden we're out of a lot of our products. We couldn't get restocked, and we hated it seriously way more than y'all did. Anyone that's placed an order that was on back order, we appreciate your patience. But it was definitely hard to get restocked, but we learned a lot. We made some changes. We changed the way our ordering system works for us, not for you guys. And it means a lot that we're able to help you guys go catch fish. If you send a picture to someone else, hey, I caught a fish on your fly. It's like, oh, maybe great. I don't know. But you send a picture to our Instagram, you're going to talk to me, not Steven, because Steven's Steven's not nice to people sometimes.
I'm also in meetings 8 hours a day. So
Steven has a real job. But
you have a real job.
I have a real job, but
real job, whatever you want to call that these days.
But like you send us an email of something nice, a fish pic of something of a fly, like, or of a fish that you caught on our fly, like. That fucking makes our that's not our day. That like makes our week.
Dude, we get jazzed. We're like, we'll screenshot it and we'll send it back for that. Did you see this guy? He just tagged us in this thing. Or did you see his DM, dude? Yeah, catching fish on our flies. Hell yeah!
Like
we
that,
love seeing that.
Like that shit matters to us. Because I don't like Blue Line isn't for me. It's not for Steven. Like we're doing this for you guys because. We know like the struggle's fucking real.
We were there.
Because we were there.
We've been through it all today. Yeah. We don't want other people to have to deal with that. That's why we're putting these educational videos out with Scotty. We want to share at least how we come about this knowledge with you guys so you can, help expedite that learning curve. We want to have access to those flies that we didn't have access to, that we've spent 15 years here developing, that we've been tying for forever. We want to be able to share that and make that available for you guys to use to better yourselves at this thing. We're not going to give you the golden key here, but we're going to give you the tools necessary to improve yourself.
I mean, I don't need these flies tied. Like these are flies that I've been tying since some of them literally, no joke, since I was 10 years old.
Oh yeah.
Like they're not. I am not doing this for you. For me.
Yeah.
No. Sorry. Cut that. I am not doing this for me. I'm doing it for you. Like it's like I can tie these flies myself and fish them all fucking day long and never tell you about them. Like I can do that, but that's not why I'm doing it.
There are some flies we do that with.
Okay, all right. I've got some shit.
Full disclosure: there's some things that you guys just aren't ready for yet. You will see it, but it might be a few years.
So new flies coming in.
There's some stuff, but yes, we do have some new flies that are coming out. But seriously, this is how long our research and development takes. The Northern Natives trips, when did that come out? August. We filmed that August of
2019.
2019.
20 was it 20? Yeah,
it was last year.
Okay.
Yes.
We filmed that August of 2019, and that fly is just now coming out. We have those in stock.
That was still an R&D pattern at the time. We've been using it for smallmouth and killing it with smallmouth and trout, and we were just like,
but I designed that fly for bull trout, for that bull trout trip for Northern Natives. And it is just now coming out. Like that is how long we put into like designing and perfecting a fly. Like I fished it for trout. We fished it for bass. Mirror carp.
Oh, dude, the carp are just. I've caught more carp and suckers on that. I feel like any other fish. And I've caught a lot of smallmouth on it.
Yeah, all right. Y'all shouldn't for real. Don't really fish that for carp, but like for some reason they eat it. I don't know what's up, but. That's how long it takes for us to like put a fly out. Those guys of you that have placed custom orders, if any of y'all have placed a custom order for a Meemaw, like that, like we appreciate that for real. Like because we did get a lot of custom orders off. Like, hey, I want those flies from Northern Native series. I will tie those. That's fine. But yeah, so we finally got stocked up on Meemaws. So like the stuff that we put out is not just like. Oh, this catches fish. Here, I don't know. Here, we made a video of it, so here it is. Like
look at us catch fish.
Right. Like, watch me catch some fish. Here it is. Fuck you, go buy it. Like
little FUBU.
Like the stuff that we put out is like we really have places in our boxes for every single fly that we produce, and that's like the main thing that I want to go back to.
Definitely.
Is like the stuff that we make is not like to catch fishermen. It's not for like, oh, this will sell, this looks good. Everything that we produce is like, this is a fly that somewhere on planet Earth, someone actually is like, it's their favorite fly that exists.
Boom.
Like, boom.
Yeah. And then I guess, so that's great. And then last thing, for you guys, just because, I think we all kind of grew up in fly fishing kind of pre-internet age. I was kind of on the cusp.
Not dial up, but it was close. Not dial up.
Yeah, not quite dial up.
When you were trying to go to google.com Were you asking Jeeves or were you Googling?
I was Googling. I don't even know what that is. So.
He just dated himself. Or did we did ourselves?
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit, I'm old.
But what I'd like to close on is for you all, or you both you guys, I'd like to hear from each of you. What would you tell yourself, say go back when you're 12 years old or just get into fly fishing? What would you like to tell yourself that you know now that you didn't know then?
You want to go first?
No.
Oh, yeah.
I don't.
It could be about fishing, could be about tying, it could be about not fly fishing, it could be about whatever. But what would you want to tell yourself?
Two things I would tell myself. The first being that all fishing is about luck, regardless of whatever anybody else says. But to that respect, luck is a function of experience and preparation. So get as much experience as possible and prepare as well as you can before every trip that you go on, and you'll have the best possible chance of catching the fish of a lifetime, unless Scotty grabs your line. That last was a low key jab at him for yesterday's fishing. But yeah, for sure. Like I said, luck is a function of preparation and experience. So you prepare and just get out there and fish. That's how I would sum it up. And the second thing is, you get all these grand ambassadors and influencers and all that shit out there. That wasn't there for us, but that's something that is now part of the industry. Just don't take yourself too fucking serious. This is at the end of the day, while it's a business for us, it's also a hobby for us. And we were doing this because Adam and I, we enjoy this. And if we ever don't enjoy it, we have an issue with this. So make sure you have fun. Don't take yourself too seriously. And if you ever happen to come across the @fishtails_bro account and you read some of the shit posts I have out there, you'll understand completely what I mean by don't take yourself too seriously with some of those fucking descriptions. So, yeah, that'd be the two things I'd tell myself growing up.
I like that. That's really good. Yeah. Adam?
Mine was like, I'd probably say, like, if I was 12 and I didn't start fly fishing when I was 12, but like maybe I was like 12 years old.
Right.
I could tell myself, like, the more you drink, the worse fishing you're gonna do.
12-year-old you? All right, check.
Drink water?
I'm drinking water and I'm fishing worse. What the fuck?
Brown water? You mean apple juice?
No. All right. So for real, like, I guess I would tell myself the shit that I'm gonna do later because of what I'm doing in North Alabama is going to apply to so much more than just fishing in North Alabama. Like, and still to me, that's insane that brown trout eat just like a smallmouth does, and it doesn't matter where you are on the planet. If you're fishing brown trout in Patagonia, Montana, or freaking Tennessee, they eat the same as a smallmouth does. Maybe you have smallmouth, largemouth, whatever you have near you. Like, the stuff that you're doing now is going to, like, really, like, is grooming you for the stuff that you might do later. Bull trout, for example. Like, I really feel like we rolled up on that bull trout series and, like, in 30 minutes had shit dialed in.
Or at least starting to figure out.
Or starting to dial in bull trout because of smallmouth. Like, that's crazy to me. But that's what I would like reiterate to myself is, like, the stuff that you're doing now, even though it's like fun and you're like, I thought that stuff was fun. I thought it was awesome.
It still is.
It still is. But, like, really being into that and, like, man, I want to try to catch, like, hey, how come sometimes when I cast this brim fly out, I catch, like, a bass? And then start asking questions about that. Like, that stuff turning into bull trout fishing in Montana or in Canada and chasing, like, the biggest brown trout that I can in Montana. Like, that stuff is what I would reiterate, which I guess I did, but
yeah,
I would be like, the stuff that you're doing at home is going to literally, like, change the way that you live your life outside of Alabama too. And
fly fishing will absolutely change the way you live your life in a good way.
I guess in a good way.
Some others might beg to differ.
Tell my bank account that.
Yeah. Talk to my wife. But that's the thing that I would say is, like, fish are fish. I don't care where they are. Like, they're not smart. Like, there's some of the
Except on the mo.
Oh, okay. Those fish are smart. There's like
fucking smarter than I. I've got a master's
smarter than I,
degree.
yeah, they're smarter than me. Those fish have a master's degree. There's a university. There's a college.
Fucking fisherman.
I don't know. They have their public school system is something the U.S. should really study. But fish are stupid. They literally exist to make more fish and eat. And make more fish.
Isn't
and
that why
eating
we're
is just
here?
part of it. But the fish that you're gonna catch at 4 minutes from your house still act very similarly to the fish that you see those people on Instagram catching. The fish that we catch on the Short Bus Diaries. The fish that you're seeing from any Instagram pictures. Those are even though it's a fucking brim or a crappie or whatever the hell you're catching. Fish are fish. If you can catch fish somewhere that is relatable to catching fish anywhere else on the planet, and if you want to be successful in catching fish in Montana, or you want to make some trip to Mexico or wherever in the world you want to go, the fish that you catch at your house, that the experiences, the what you learn from doing it is going to translate to wherever else you want to go.
Boom.
Let's
end it at that.
There it
I
is.
think that was awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming on. This has been awesome. Jesus. Thank you guys for coming on. For all of you guys who are watching and listening, hope you guys enjoyed this first episode. I think this is going to be a fun way, like I said, to dive into some of these deeper, longer form conversations. Some productive, some maybe not as productive, but it's hopefully you guys can take some away from this. And for you guys who do not know about Blue Line or do know about Blue Line, I would highly recommend go check them out. Go pick up some flies. We have been slaying fish yesterday for the part of the day that we could actually fish, and it wasn't too windy. We were catching fish on Blue Line streamers, and support these guys and just their mission, their goal with giving back to the sport and just making a great product that hopefully will help you guys out. And I think that's about all I've got. This has been fun. Any closing words before we cut it, boys?
Buy flies from us, please.
Buy flies.
Like, we need some money to keep doing that.
we have a bad addiction for fly fishing, and this is how we fuel it is through our company. It's a long con because we are not making any money right now. We're actually spending more money than we make, but maybe
that's what you got to do to start.
Yeah, maybe 15, 20 years, it'll take off.
Maybe, but you guys helping us out seriously. Like, if you place an order, that means a whole lot to us. That doesn't go on deaf ears. Like,
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, like the only employees of Blue Line are me and Steve. Like, that shit goes to us. Like, you comment or you email or you Instagram or you place an order. Like, Steve or I are the ones that see that. So,
and I pack almost everything.
And Steven packs all of it.
I just want some respect.
But it's
a thankless job.
Place some orders. We seriously appreciate it. We really appreciate our customers. And honestly, it's going better than we honestly ever thought that it would. Like, and now we're starting to get orders outside of like Alabama or North Carolina. We're getting people placing orders in like Ohio. I didn't know there was water in Ohio or like anyone that lived there. But those people place orders, and like we're getting people ordering like California or Maine or whatever. We're getting people now that are ordering from Canada from our trip. And every time I get an order, it's never like, oh fuck, I'm gonna ship some fucking flies to this dude. It's like, oh my gosh, oh wow, we got an order. Oh, that's cool. Where's this dude at? Like, oh wow, he's in Mississippi. That's cool. I wonder what he's like. What is he ordering, or what's he fishing, or whatever. Like, I always get jazzed when we get orders for stuff, and it's still weird to me. That we're getting orders from places that aren't like what we're doing, but. Obviously, it means that we're doing something right. Neither of us take it very seriously, but
we take our company serious.
Oh, our company's serious, but fishing isn't that serious, and what we're working on. So,
God damn it.
Well, and on that note,
get
out there, go fish, go explore, have fun, And tag us in some pics. We love to see what you're doing out there.
Love to see it.
We
Yeah, I want to
absolutely
see
love it.
what you're doing with my flies because literally nothing like makes my day like getting a picture or like a hey, check this out, like I caught this with your fly.
Oh, dude. That's
Like
the
that
best.
shit like jazzes me up like all week.
It's one of those things like you told me that when I first started the company. I would like,
I
cool.
would have never thought.
Yeah, but now we're seeing that, and I was just like, dude, that's the sickest thing ever. Like I love when people talk like call our flies by name and they ask for them, that kind of stuff, and tag us in it.
Dude, like some dude from fucking Ohio caught a fish on like this fly. I'm like, what?
It's like sweet, that's awesome.
That's sick.
Well, cool. Appreciate you guys listening again. And I think we're going to end it at that because I have to go to the bathroom. And you guys apparently like Alabama. So we're going to go watch the Alabama game.
Yeah, there's an Alabama
Tide.
game on right now that I've been watching on the phone.
Yeah.
Go Tigers. Just saying. Anyways, we're going to wrap this up. If you guys are interested in picking up, we've got a new fall apparel line for Wildfly out. So definitely go. There's no camera. But definitely go check that out if you guys are interested in supporting and checking out some of the new gear. And we will see you guys in the next episode.
If you don't hear back from Scotty, it's because we've killed him for his questionable football choices.
Yeet, yeet. Bang, bang. Skeet, skeet.
Bang,
nigga.
bang, skeet, skeet. All right, we'll see y'all later.